Still to this day, I believe that my husband was voodoo when we was in New Orleans. So me and him went to New Orleans a few years back, and we was on Bourbon Street, and an incident occurred. But before I tell y'all incident, let me just tell y'all what was going on throughout that night. So as we was walking, we saw a lot of things, women topless, it was just things that people say that goes on in New Orleans, but then you get to experience it for yourself. So that particular night, we were out there drinking, and when I tell y'all, I have never been so intoxicated like that night. Well, I'll take that back because I have been pretty intoxicated before. But so this woman comes up to my husband, well, my boyfriend at the time, and she was forcing the drinks. Like, they'll come and make you open your mouth and like just chug the drinks with their mouth. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I see and hear about this all the time. And then after that, she demanded like $40. She was like, $40. And my husband was like, first of all, you shoved that drink down my throat, blah, blah, blah. So we're not going to go into all that. But this is the scary part. Well, I won't say scary, but this is where it gets evil, okay? And you know, they say all different type of things about New Orleans. They say that it's deeply ritual into witchcraft, voodoo, hoodooism, all those type of things. She was like, you stay out of it. She said, I want your man. I want him. And she was pointing at him, and I was just like, look, let me just pay for it. This will just all be gone away, okay? Well, my husband was still upset at that time, so he was just like, no. So when we was walking away, my husband turned around and looked at the woman, because the woman was like, kind of had this hideous laugh, but she was still angry and mad. And he was like, she just did something like this. Like, it was like 2 fingers, and it was like this. And she was just like looking at him, shaking her head. Now, I'm not sure what could have happened. I'm really not sure what, is that a spell or what? But I promise you, at 3 o'clock that morning, he was throwing up sick, and he stopped throwing up 7 days later. He was throwing up the whole way home back to Mississippi, and he was not able to keep nothing down. He was just throwing up repeatedly. I took him to different hospitals. They was just like, nothing is wrong. And they will give him IV drips, and he'll be okay with the fluid. But soon as they took the IV out, he was just back. Blah, blah. I'm talking about, he was just throwing up so much. Make a long story short, it was literally 7 days after he stopped finished throwing up. So y'all tell me, what do y'all think about that New Orleans story?
Would you guys like to hear a story when I was in New Orleans a few years ago? I'm gonna make this quick because I got a Pilates class in 10 minutes. So my ex-wife and I decided to take a trip to New Orleans just to go on a vacation. And keeping in mind, I've never been to New Orleans until that one time. So we booked a hotel at the DoubleTree there. And when we got there, we checked into our hotel room. When I tell you guys, when we got to our hotel room, and as soon as we opened that door, my ex-wife and I started feeling this heavy feeling as soon as we stepped through the door. Another thing I want to add, I'm very sensitive to energy, but my ex-wife, she was not very sensitive to energy like that. Like, she could go somewhere and be like, I don't feel anything, unless she was just suppressing it or something. But the energy was so heavy in that room, you guys. I told my ex-wife, I was like, look, we can go to, a whole nother hotel if you want to. And she was just like, no, it's okay. It's fine. Let's just, it looks really nice. Let's just settle in. So since she wanted to stay, I was like, y'all, I could not take that shit. Like, the energy, I'm shaking now talking about it. The energy was so thick, you can literally cut the shit with a knife. So I wasn't taking no chances. I prayed over the walls. I recited the book of Psalms 23. I literally channeled my inner ancestors, like, when it came to that room, because I did not play. And the funny thing about it was, once I was doing my little prayer work, touching every wall in that room, touching every wall, reciting, my ex-wife was like, I feel a little bit better now, right? So after all of that, we decided to stay. So later that night, y'all, I had to take a deep breath because, shit's about to get real, right? So later that night when we went to bed, I was actually in a state at that moment where I was like between worlds. I believe they call it lucid dreaming. So I was laying in my bed that night, and I turned over and looked at one of the corners of the room, and y'all, I saw like an emaciated looking man or demon or whatever the hell it was, with gray skin, no clothes on, with eyes as red as fire. And the crazy part about it was that in this dream state, I was able to sit up in my bed that night. And when I did, I looked at that thing. I just sat there and just looked at it and stared at it. But the crazy thing about this whole experience was that that entity in the corner of that room did not move. As a matter of fact, that thing was looking at me like it was afraid of me. When I tell you that thing was sitting in the corner of that room like this, I am dead ass serious, y'all. I swear I saw that thing and he was looking like that. He didn't come close to me, or it, or whatever it was. It didn't come close to me or nothing. So when my ex-wife and I woke up that next morning, the room felt lighter. The room felt very light. As a matter of fact, when we went out and did our little festivities, in the French Quarter in New Orleans, we had a good time. We had a blast. And we actually slept peacefully the other 2 nights that we stayed in that room. I don't know what kind of protection my ancestors or my mother have over me, but I will say this. My mother does prayer work like it ain't nothing. Like, she is a prayer warrior. And my mother also told me that my grandfather used to practice, if you know what I mean. And her mother, my grandmother, she told me that her prayers were so strong that they probably literally could raise the dead. But when I tell you guys that these spirits in New Orleans are real, that was my first time going. And I heard all kinds of stuff about New Orleans, but that was a personal experience for me. Please leave in the comments of like these similar experiences that you guys had, because I want to hear, because I've always wanted to tell this story, but I kept it in the back of my head because I didn't think nobody was going to believe me. People probably still don't believe me, but it's real. It's real, y'all.
And locked out at the same time.
I felt like a Twilight Zone or ride. You just felt that real eerie, like, this is kind of weird feeling, So this is a disclaimer, because a lot of the stuff about New Orleans I did not know until after we decided to do something that we should have never did. Because after that, I found out a lot, and I was just like, why did we come down here? So what we did was, we do this in every state that we go to, y'all. We do like a little haunted house or like a ghost thing. So we did like a ghost tour, not knowing that we were going to have to go to an actual cemetery and walk around. This part kind of gives me the chills. So can you start it?
So when we got to the, what is it called?
Never mind. Okay, so when we got on the bus, y'all, the bus was packed out. It was packed. It was a bring your own bottle event. Guy, he was telling us, okay, guys, make sure y'all download this on your phones, so when we get out there, you can detect them. And then he said, one thing he said that everybody just kind of, it just went over their heads. He said, so when I get in there, I'm gonna walk backwards, and then when I go out, I'm gonna walk backwards as well, so nothing won't follow me. So we're like, oh, okay, we're gonna do the same thing. Hee, ha, 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 ha. So we get to the cemetery. Mind you, the weather, it's not raining, it's not cold, it's not hot. It's like right in between, like feeling good. So we get out and we're walking around, and the guy's telling us the style. They don't bury. It's like a New Orleans tradition. They don't bury their people. They just put dirt on top of them, and then one year and one day they come, and then they just basically, their bones, and they put them in, the ground. So we got to this
little cave graveyard looking thing, and the first thing he said was, everybody take a picture of this and tell me what you see. He said, take a picture of it, tell me what you see. You won't be the only one in your selfie. So he had everybody taking pictures. Everybody was taking pictures. This one lady, she was recording, inside the gate, and she ended up seeing something, and she stopped the recording. And before she seen it, he was showing us a picture that he had of what he took in the gate and what he seen in the gate. So I looked at that picture, and then the lady, she was right behind me that was recording, and then she yelled and stopped recording, and she showed her video, and the same thing that was in his picture was in her video.
It was like walking by.
Yeah, like walking by. Same exact thing. So
That
we
creeped
move
me
on.
out.
We move on from that. We walking. He talks. We walking and talking. It's like he's trying to predict what type of people
We are.
like that everybody is. He's like, who's a hustler in this group, or who's an entrepreneur, or you a female, come to the front of the line now. Like, he was basically just trying to like pick out
people out.
Yeah. So mind you, now we almost at like the end of the little first cemetery tour. Mind you, we had to do 2 of them. We didn't know this when we booked this. We thought it was
like
some
a
haunted house, people
situation.
tapping on the bus window trying to scare us type shit like that. I didn't think it was gonna be no graveyard walk. I don't even go see dead folks that's in my family. So I ain't about to just be walking around cemeteries.
But we were already there,
So we get close to the end, and he's like, how many gangsters do I have in this group? He's like, if you're a gangster, come to the front and follow me. The next thing we about to see is basically making it seem like he was about to tell us a story about an OG that done died
right.
and is buried.
Don't let this be an example of you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was taking from it. But we got to the little spot, and he didn't say shit. He didn't speak at all.
The very next thing
He didn't speak at all.
So
the next thing he did was his head just went up like this.
Yeah.
And he was just staring.
What did I say to him?
He was just staring at the sky. And
like
my
something
wife
was
said,
flying over, like he was just like.
And my wife was like, "What is he looking at?"
We thought it was.
She asked me that. And I was like, "I don't know. Ask him." And she said, "What are you looking at?" And he didn't say shit. He was still looking up there. Like 10 seconds after she said that, he was still staring. A lot of the people that was on the tour, they was just talking to each other. Nobody was paying attention to what was going on in him.
Yeah.
Nobody was paying attention to it but us. So right after he did that, he just looked right back down and he just started talking about how people were buried again. The same talk he was doing that entire time, he went right back to it. He didn't talk about the OG that was buried behind us or anything like, and that's what I thought he was about to explain. Every time he asked who's an entrepreneur, who's a this, who's a that, we thought he was literally gonna explain to us a specific person that was buried in there that was either an entrepreneur, OG, a doctor, somebody of nature. That's what we were thinking. It was never that. So after the head up, head down situation, we walked about 20 steps back towards the front of the gravesite. When I tell you, out of nowhere, a click, boom, a freezing cold breeze. Freezing cold breeze.
It was about 70 degrees out there, y'all. It was a breeze that I've never ever felt before. Like, it felt like there was an energy with that breeze, you know?
The breeze was crazy.
It was
strong. It threw everybody off.
It threw everybody off.
And the guy he's gonna say, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that quick."
Right. I wasn't expecting that to happen so soon.
That was weird. All I know is from hearing growing up, cold. When it's something cold around you, that means that's a spirit or something.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. We still wasn't thinking nothing about it. It's like, hey, let's get back on the bus. It's cold. Get on the bus.
He's the first one out.
Yeah. He's the first one out. He's walking out backwards. It's like, y'all don't forget, walk out backwards. I'm telling you, everybody walked out backwards.
Even us.
And yeah, not one person did not walk out backwards. We all did it, not knowing. So,
because we're thinking, if he's so bold to do this, we need to listen to him. Not knowing none of the history that he could have literally been a dead spirit, but you know how they say in New Orleans, there's dead people that's around and they still have physical bodies. So go ahead, babe.
So
And I'm like, what is happening? Mind you, in the hotel that they were in, it's like 75 degrees in there, probably hotter. And the water was like, it was freezing up as though you just took it out of the refrigerator, and it's like really, it started bubbling up. And I'm like, y'all know what that means, right? Because I seen it somewhere on TikTok before. I said, y'all know what that means when the water start bubbling up and looking like that? It means that there's like a dark energy or a spirit around you. And they're like, no, you lying. I'm like, I swear to God, looking up. And at this point, we laughing because we're not thinking nothing of it about New Orleans. And then that specific place that we were at, it's the most haunted place in New Orleans. And this people were saying like there's a bunch of dark magic, a bunch of portals down here, just a lot of dark energy down here. And tourists are really not supposed to be in this area, and that we are not supposed to, after 10 o'clock, you're not supposed to walk. What the fuck are you rolling your eyes for?
I wasn't trying to.
And as we were talking and as I was doing my research, how I felt about the situation, they were trying to scope people out to give their dead ancestors other people's bodies. Like, that's how I felt about the situation. And it gives me creeps even talking about it. And that guy, like, the way he was, it just was like he belonged there. Like, I don't know how to explain it. You don't do stuff like that. And he was just way too comfortable to do it. You know, after that happened, 2 days later, that incident happened where the guy plowed into the truck. And I just felt like our energy was definitely right and definitely was telling us to get the fuck out of there. Because we left a whole day earlier than what we were supposed to. But like my husband said, no disrespect to any other NO natives. Like, no problem with you guys. It's just the city is there's a lot of history. There's a lot of things that go on down there. So we just would never go there.
I never go to New Orleans.
Never.
New Orleans is haunted. I mean, this isn't a secret, but I have received quite a few spooky and haunting stories from New Orleans. Now, if you guys know the ties between New Orleans and Haiti, this all makes sense. So it is no doubt in my mind that New Orleans voodoo is pretty powerful. People over there, they know what they're doing. They're not just witches, they're voodoo priests and priestesses. And based on how haunted the entire town is, the actual humans in New Orleans aren't alone, as there are demons and creatures walking among them looking human. I don't know if you guys have seen this video. So this man was trying to get this dude to rub elbows with him. The caption says, you meet a random man on Bourbon Street saying that he can tell you your future if you just tap his elbow. But Shadow Man taught you better than that. In the entire video, it seems like he was really pushing him to rub elbows with him. Almost like coercing him into it. Like, come on, just do it. What are you afraid of? He was not with it. One thing that did stick out to me was the fact that dude right here had to get his permission to rub elbows together. That he couldn't just rub his elbow against his. He needed his consent and his permission as well. Now, why? What is the point of rubbing elbows? Like, what would happen? Apparently, this is like the oldest trick in the book, to swap destinies with people. So the two joining elbows together. Apparently, elbows are known to like go every which direction, which in witchcraft or voodoo can be representing of life. So if you see someone and you want their lifestyle, their life, and what they want, their luck, you have to get their permission to rub elbows with you. That way, unbeknownst to the other person, they are actually swapping luck and destinies with you. So, you know, if you do it, then things in your life would just start going really bad, while the other person is living their best life. It's the little simple things that we don't look so deep into, or the little simple things that we don't believe in. Remember, you don't have to be scared of a dog for it to bite you. So to think, oh, I don't believe in that superstitious shit, I'm just gonna go rub elbows with everybody or shake everybody's hand. You don't have to be scared of a dog for it to bite you. You don't have to be scared of something for it to affect you. And if you don't believe in it, just be safe than sorry. Don't go around rubbing elbows with people. Don't go around shaking hands with people. Anything that seems like it's sealing a deal, don't do it. Me personally, I feel like I would have got God, which is why knowledge is key. It's so important. I don't know nothing about rubbing elbows. I probably would have been like, yeah, he trying to tell me my future. God damn. Be safe out there, y'all. I don't know how y'all do it out in New Orleans. Anyway, like I say in every single video, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl.
Okay, y'all, so I am back. It has been a minute since I have posted about my spooky stories, but I have been going through a whole lot and life has just been crazy. But this particular story I have been waiting to post because I needed to find the actual photo so that I could actually have receipts to show you guys what I actually went through. Okay, so this story is about
the time when I stayed in New Orleans, and my son had an imaginary friend, and she decided that she was going to ride my back. And my daughter actually caught the picture of her on my back. Okay, so I moved to New Orleans in 2011. And when I moved down there, my son was 3 years old at the time, and he used to always play by himself. Like every day he was in the room just casually playing by himself. At the time, I had 2 boys and 2 girls. Okay, so I must add that when we moved to New Orleans, we moved down with my child's brother. We moved in their 2-bedroom apartment. It was him and his fiance, because we didn't have plans on staying with them for too long. We just needed a little stable place before we were able to get on our feet, because it was such a sudden move. I went down to New Orleans for my birthday. I loved it. I came back to Atlanta within a week. I had all of my stuff packed in my apartment, and I was moving back down to New Orleans because that's where I wanted to be. It was the life. Now, at that time, it didn't dawn on me that my son would always play by himself. I mean, I was a loner as a child also, and I used to play by myself all the time, and my imagination was humongous, so I didn't want to stop him from whatever he had going on with his creation and his own little reality. I didn't want to dim down his light. So if he was playing, talking to his imaginary friend, it never dawned on me it was a spirit, like, stop, don't allow your children to do that. So fast forward 2 months into us being down in New Orleans, I was working at Burger King. I was an assistant manager at the Burger King, and so this particular day, I'm gonna bring on the day, and then I'm gonna have to rewind the story, so make sure you pay attention. Okay, so on this particular day, I remember it like it was yesterday, because the chain of events that happened on that day was just mind-blowing for me. It was life-changing. It was just something unimaginable. It was January 28th, 2012. Normal day, got up 4:30 that morning to get dressed, get ready, go to work by 5 a.m. Everything was cool. I got to my store. I opened my store. About 5:30, that's when my employees start coming in. It was 2 girls. I cannot remember their name, but Daniel was the only guy. He was a flamboyant guy or whatever, but Daniel is who I remember because he is the main topic of the story. So they come in, we get everything put together, get all of our breakfast cooked, get everything put together for our shift to run smoothly for that morning. And we got done pretty early, so we just sat down in the lobby to chill until our customers started rolling in or whatever. So all the employees get there. My crew was like, we was cool. We was calm. Everybody got along. We talked about everything versus our job versus our families. Like, we just talked about everything. So we get all of the breakfast and everything squared away, and we just chilling. So everybody is chilling, and next thing you know, on my sister, y'all, God rest her soul right now, we literally hear horns in the sky. Like, the sound was just like everybody's heart dropped to their ass, and we all looking out the window to the sky, just honestly waiting on God to come rushing through. Like, it was literally sounding of a trumpet. Like, January 28th, 2012, the sounds of the trumpet, we heard it, and thank God that they were there at that time to witness it, because nobody would have believed me if I was there by myself. So we literally all mind boggled at this point. Like, we are all just shocked. Like, we all rushed to the dining room, and we just at a loss for words because of what we just heard. Like, we had to go and regroup and get ourselves together, because we all walking in circles and trying to figure out what's going on, praying, and Lord knows, just trying to gather ourselves at that moment. So we all just ended up in the dining room at the tables, just talking and just mind blown by what had happened. And Daniel was our friend who actually practiced Wicca. So he takes his little tarot cards out, and he's like, oh, I want to do some palm readings on you guys. Now, mind you, I'm 2 months into New Orleans. I've being raised Christian. I don't deal with any witchcraft. I don't get into it. You're not reading no palms. You're not tarot carding me. You're not doing any of that kind of stuff to me. So I watched while he did the two girls that was there with me. So Daniel reads the tarot cards for one of the girls that was in there, and it was to the point where this girl was crying because she was saying that everything that he was saying was true, and it was just crazy or whatever. So after he read her, he stopped and he was like, you guys, my mom told me to tell my friends something, and you guys are literally the only friends that I have, so this message gotta be for one of y'all. So Daniel proceeds to say that the message that his mom had given him the night before was to let one of his friends know that it was a little girl that was mad because one of her friends were getting ready to get took away. And he was explaining how this little girl was angry. It was a spirit, and that if one of us, which is me and the other two girls in the job, if we didn't go through a cleansing, but he was saying that if we didn't go through a cleansing, that the spirit would attach itself to us, and Lord knows what kind of omen it would bring towards us, because she was angry at the time. And so that's when I'm looking crazy once all over again, because the night before, my oldest daughter was taking a picture of my youngest daughter with my cell phone. I was in the background doing hair for my baby father's niece. I was doing her hair, and my daughter snaps a picture of my youngest daughter, which you see me in the background, and you see the spirit of the little girl on my back. Now, when my daughter was taking a photo, none of us were aware of it until that night my baby father was going through my phone, and he's like, Carmen, who's on your back? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he shows me the picture, and I'm like, I'm doing hair. We zoom in. So when you zoom in, you see the little girl on my back. You see her two ponytails in her head. You see her purple dress. I had on a burgundy shirt at the time, and you see nothing else. No features, no arms, no anything else, but you see the silhouette of the little girl on my back. So now fast forward to January 28th. Daniel is telling me what his mom said, and like I said, I'm looking crazy because at this time, it finally brought up my baby father telling me about the little girl on my back. And also at this time, we had found our place and we were getting ready to move. And so when Daniel spoke of what he spoke of, I got scared all over again. And that's when I started telling him about the picture that my daughter took, and that what me and my baby father had caught in the picture the night before. And so I showed him the picture, and he's like, oh my God. He calls his mom, and he's like, Mom, it's Carmen. We got to do a cleansing for her. He sends her the picture, and he's like, is this what you're talking about? And Mom is like, yes. And she immediately went into some type of language and saying that I'm cleansed and I'm washed. Whole more of the story is that the little girl was on my back, and she attached herself to me because she was mad that I was getting ready to move to taking her friend away, which was my son that she played with every day. So after the mom did her cleansing prayer and release for me, it was just crazy how the whole day was playing out. I was just crazy, just astounded by all of the craziness that was going on with the spirits, and it was just mind-blowing. And so got off work, told my baby father what had happened with David and the horns and the mother having to pray for me and all of this stuff. So fast forward, now we're in the bed. About 3-something in the morning, the following morning, we get a call from my baby father's auntie, and she's like, get outside right now. Now, all of his family stayed literally around the block from each other. So we had an auntie on this block, grandmother on this block, another aunt on this block, brother on this block. Like, the family was very close. So his aunt is like 3:20 in the morning. She's like, you get outside right now. we jump up and throw some clothes on and go running outside. Tell me why my son is outside walking down the street saying that his friend told him to follow her to come play. My son was 3 years old, outside in the middle of the night with no clothes on. This little boy had on underwear that were turned backwards, and he was walking down the street because his friend told him to come and play. She was trying to lead my baby to destruction. She was mad at me because we was leaving, and that's just what it is. So here's the picture. And also, I may add in, the cleansing that Daniel's mom did not work, because this little girl did end up following us around for a little while longer. Last time I believe my son had an encounter with her, we had moved back to Atlanta in 2014, and my son, by this time he was 6 or 7, somewhere around in that age, and we were in our house and all the kids were playing outside. My son disappears. He goes wandering through the freaking woods. We going crazy trying to find him. He finally comes out saying that his friend wanted him to come follow her and play. When she took my son in the woods, she ended up giving him a mushroom. But she ended up giving my son a mushroom to eat, and crazily, he ate it. When we found him, he came out. He told us that he was in the woods because his friend wanted them to go play on a hike or whatever the case may have been. He told me that she had gave him a mushroom to eat. Then literally right after that, my son fell so sick. So sick. At the hospital, his nurse was a Jamaican lady, and I told her what had happened, and he told her the exact same story about the girl Britt telling him to come in the woods to eat the mushroom, and she prayed a prayer over him, and we haven't dealt with that little girl ever since. Enjoy.
Hi there. Kimberly Denise here, also known as Fat Girl Freestyle. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate your presence and I appreciate your energy. Thank you for all of the new subscribers and the sharing of the videos and the comments, especially the comments when you're sharing your experiences. I appreciate it because you guys are letting me know that I'm not weird, I'm not strange, I'm not crazy. I've been having experiences my entire life. I just never freely talked about them because who wants to be told they're crazy? But y'all are letting me know that it's okay to come here and talk about them because so many of you have experienced the same things. So I thank you for helping me to create a safe space for both myself and others to share. If this is your first time seeing me, I go by Fat Girl Freestyle, but my name is Kimberly. I am born and raised in one of the greatest cities in the world, New Orleans, Louisiana. And if you know anything about New Orleans, then you know how spiritually connected we are. You know those roots run very, very deep, all the way back to the ancestors. From Africa to Haiti to Cuba. And this is a place where many different beliefs and rituals occur. Some in the light, some in the darkness. But it is not for me to judge what's good, what's bad, what's right, or what's wrong. I'm just here to share. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. Believe what you wish. But my experiences, as are the experiences of many others, are very valid. New Orleans, the energy here is so intense because we are on the river. We're also on Lake Pontchartrain. And water is a powerful conductor of spiritual energy. So, of course, there's a lot that happens here. And I've been having experiences since I was a child. It's just that I'm at a point in my life where I don't care what people are going to think. So I've decided to start sharing them. And for those who think I talk too slowly, I don't get to the point, I take too long, etc., etc. I'm from New Orleans, baby. This is how we talk. And how I tell my stories is how I tell my stories. You can either listen faster or you can go watch something else. You're welcome to do either one. Today, I decided to share my experience with shadow people. I call them the darkness within the darkness. And notice it's daytime when I'm talking about this because I don't talk about it at night. I've had several experiences with them throughout my life. The first time, I had a warning from what I can only say was a higher power looking out for me. But I was home by myself, and this was during the time when we still had house phones. And it wasn't just a house phone, but it was the wall phone that you got the extra long cord for so you could sit down and talk. You could go from the kitchen into the living room. I was on the phone on the sofa. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. The TV was on, and we had those big floor model TVs with the big back on them. Yeah, that kind of TV. So the lights were off, of course, and the TV was so big it illuminated the entire room. But the sofa I was sitting on, there was a hallway. And in that hallway, the very first room was a bedroom. And then further up was my bedroom. And across from my bedroom was the bathroom. Well, the lights were off in the bedroom, in the hallway, of course. And the bathroom light was on. So it gave some illumination into the hallway and into the first bedroom. But other than that, past the door, it was nothing but darkness. So I'm on the phone chilling, having a good old time, cutting up, talking, laughing. And out of my peripheral, I see something pass across the door like that. But I just kept on talking, didn't pay it any mind. And I saw it again. And this time, I paid a little closer attention. Still didn't look in the direction, but I made a note of it in my mind that it was there. And I thought to myself, oh, it's just the illumination from the TV. It's just a reflection from the TV. That wasn't possible because there was a wall blocking. And it was impossible for it to reach all the way into the hallway to that first bedroom. But the things we convince ourselves of sometimes, I know. The third time I saw it move, it intentionally moved very slowly across the door, almost coming to a complete stop. And at that point, I'm getting ready to say, hold on, because I'm going to look and see what the hell this is. And before I could get the words out of my mouth, I heard a voice in my head say, don't look at it. Don't acknowledge it. Don't let it know that you know it's there. Keep talking. And even though I was anxious, and even though my heart was beating almost completely out of my chest, I kept on going with that conversation because that warning was very firm, very serious, and very intense. And that shadow passed back across that door and back into the darkness. See, I don't call them shadow people. I call them the darkness within the darkness, because even if it's pitch black, you can still see them moving. I've had other experiences with them throughout my life. Not any time in recent years, thank God, but they exist. And if you've seen them, they're real, but don't acknowledge them. So next time you see something moving in the shadows, next time you see something moving in the darkness, within the darkness, keep doing whatever you are doing. Don't acknowledge it. Don't look at it. Don't talk about it. Don't even think about it. Just let it do what it's doing, and it'll go away. I have more stories coming. Again, thank y'all for being here. And as always, I love you, baby.